Welcome to Close to Home with Nicole Sullivan.
Welcome to Close to Home with Nicole Sullivan. I'm your host, John Clements. Nicole, a lifelong Mississippi Gulf Coast resident and experienced attorney, shares her legal insights on everything from real estate to estate planning, bringing clarity to a complex field. Today's episode is protecting your family through the power of attorney and healthcare directives. So first of all, Nicole, welcome back to the show.
Thanks. Good to be here.
Yeah, it's good to talk with you. So let's jump into this. A lot of people think estate planning is just about wills, but can you explain why documents like durable power of attorney and healthcare directive are just as important as a will?
To me, a durable power of attorney and a healthcare directive are one of the things that are just as important as a will, because these are your wishes during your lifetime on who is going to help you with those day-to-day business transactions or with your healthcare decisions. So you have to make sure that, yes, your estate plan is covered from a will perspective for your wishes post-mortem, I guess you could say, after death. However, it's super important to have your power of attorney and your healthcare directive up to date, because whether it be doctors, attorneys, financial institutions, they need to know who to speak to if you are unavailable. And unavailable doesn't always mean that you are in the hospital in a coma, that kind of thing. It could mean you're on a great cruise after retirement and you're just unavailable for that purpose. So it's super important to get those put together to make sure that you are covered if you happen to be unavailable.
Okay, that's interesting. I didn't know that the unavailable part. I have older relatives, so I knew that certain life events happen and you need these things, but I never thought about whether it's on vacation.
Yeah. And that's a lot of times the example I give, because I don't want to be, so negative with the things that you need it for. It could be a simple situation to where you don't have phone service and there's something that needs to be handled. Simple explanation or super easy example is, let's say a pipe bursts in your house and there's water everywhere and a plumber needs to be paid to come out, and whomever your power of attorney is has to pay for that. They can use your checks to pay for those things by being your power of attorney, or even let's say they had to pay for it themselves, they could reimburse themselves for having to pay for a fix like that. And that's something that, as the homeowner, you need to have somebody that can handle those business affairs for you. And that's something that, you're going to have to deal with when you get back, but it could be super timely and something that needs to be addressed immediately. And you're just not available to be there to do that, but your power of attorney may be.
Oh, so this opens up a whole new realm of situations then. So then at what point in life do I need to consider setting up a power of attorney?
It's totally situational. I mean, many people wait until they're older, but I have many people that do it at my age. I'm about to be 34, younger. Let's say you are in the military and on deployment and you're age 19 and you're already married. Great time to have a power of attorney. So again, it's totally situational. It may be that you need it specifically because you're going on a long trip and you know that you may be unavailable. Deployment, you know that you're going to have a surgery, you're going to be hospitalized for a certain amount of time. So it's very situational, but it's always a good idea to have, even though it may not be needed at that direct moment. It's just a great idea to have that in your back pocket for
So then is that something,
any situation.
Yeah, so let's say you're going on deployment in the military and you know you're going to be gone for 6 months. Can you set up a power of attorney just for that 6-month time frame? Or would you just
Yes,
then?
it can be totally, yes, it can be totally fit to your situation. So it can be for a certain timeline or it can be indefinite.
Oh, interesting. And so then what happens if someone is unavailable, out of commission, incapacitated in some way, and they don't have these kinds of things set up?
There becomes a question of who do the attorneys, the doctors, the financial institutions, who do they look to handle your business or to make those medical decisions for you? So let's say you're unavailable from the perspective of you are in surgery and you have been put under anesthesia and you're not available to make the decision should some kind of emergency come up during surgery. Those doctors need to know who to speak to. Many times it is the spouse, but there are times that whomever is creating the healthcare directive does not want their spouse to make that decision. Maybe it's for an emotional reason. Maybe it's someone in their family has more medical knowledge. So it's important to have those documents put together for that situation as well.
And so you mentioned healthcare directives. That's a little bit different than power of attorney. So I want to talk about that too. How do these healthcare directives help families during a medical crisis?
They're super important because you are making the decision for yourself prior to a bad situation occurring where you cannot make the decision for yourself. So I like to explain a healthcare directive as you're always going to make medical decisions for yourself so long as you can. So again, I gave the example earlier about being under anesthesia. So you're unable to make decisions for yourself in that situation. But let's say you're in a coma or whatever may happen, it's important that your family knows what your decisions are. So you go ahead and you make those decisions for them so that it's less stressful on them to make those decisions for you. So when you have a healthcare directive, you name a proxy, and a proxy is someone that stands in your place just as if they're you. So they're not making decisions based on what they emotionally want to happen. They are making decisions based on what you've told them in this document. So, do you want water and food and hydration nutrients through a tube, or do you not? Are you a DNR? You're making all those decisions, so it's not up to your family to make those for you, because again, that's going to be a very emotionally tolling thing. So really, kind of like a will that we talked about, you are better handling and taking care of, yes, yourself, but also your family members for these high stress, highly emotional situations.
Yeah, absolutely. And so obviously this, proper planning, it's going to prevent or at least mitigate some of that stress and emotional turmoil. But when we're talking about choosing the person to be your power of attorney or healthcare proxy, I feel like there may be, in my own family, might be good people to choose and maybe not so good people to choose. So how do you how do you wade through that?
I think the simplest answer is trust. It has to be somebody that you trust. It doesn't have to be the same person on your durable power of attorney as your healthcare directive and your proxy. So again, sometimes there are people that are better with their medical knowledge. You may have a nurse in the family, a doctor that you want to name, as your proxy on your healthcare directive, but there may be someone that has better business knowledge that you would like to name as your power of attorney on that durable power of attorney document. But I think that the main factor to consider is going to be trust, whether or not dependent on their knowledge, irrespective of their knowledge, the trust between whether it's your children, whether or not it's your sibling, it could be a third party. The most important factor is going to be trust, and trust them that they are going to handle things to your benefit, because that's how everything is dictated. You have to do everything. You being the power of attorney or the healthcare proxy, you have to do everything for the benefit of whomever you are listed for. It's a fiduciary position. So it's super important that the trust is there between the parties.
Yeah, actually that was my next question was, do I have, if I'm power of attorney, do I have to act in the manner set forth in the documentation? It sounds like the answer is yes.
It Yes, but of course I'm going to give my attorney answer on it
It
depends.
depends, yeah.
Yes, because in our healthcare directives, there is a section that says it basically gives 3 degrees of leniency. The healthcare proxy, for example, is only to follow the directions in the form as guided. The next option is follow the directions in the form, and then anything that falls outside of that, the proxy is permitted to make those decisions. And then the third option is irrespective of what I have made the decision for myself in this healthcare proxy document, if my proxy believes something else is better for me, then my proxy is authorized to act in whatever way they think is in my best interest. So that's why I say it depends. It depends on what decision you've made for your proxy and how to follow it. Same thing for power of attorney, except for the fact that, again, it's a fiduciary capacity. So everything has to be done to the benefit of whomever you are acting for. So it's, again, trust is the bottom line. Trust whomever
Yeah.
you're giving that authority to.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, and then finally, what advice would you give someone who feels intimidated about even starting this process?
It seems like a burdensome process, and I would say that probably the simplest documents for us to put together, the cheapest documents for us to put together are going to be your power of attorney and your healthcare directive. Many times I feel like, depending on the age or the situation of the person sitting there, the client talking to me, sometimes I feel like those documents, being the healthcare directive and the power of attorney, are even more important than the will because of the situation. It's so important to have these documents, and it's not nearly as complicated as people make it out to be. I think the hardest decision is, who do you choose? Who do you trust? Who do you want to give that authority to? But again, it's super important in situations of travel, deployment, medical leave of some sort, to have these documents in place, because you need business to continue as usual, even in your absence. So I would just say, bite the bullet, call us. We will meet with you. We will make it easy. It's not intimidating. We try not to be those type of people. We're not the button-up attorneys that you can't sit down and talk to. We're your friends. We're here to advise you as a client, but also as a friend, because we want what's best for you. So our clients become our friends, and we want to make sure that you are taken care of as a part of our community.
Well, I completely agree with you. Just even talking with you today, I think people get a sense of you're just a normal person who cares about other people. And so, yeah, for sure, give her a call. So, Nicole, thank you so much for coming on the show today and talking about this important topic. And to our listeners, thank you for tuning in to Close to Home with Nicole Sullivan. To connect with Nicole and the team, visit sullivanlawfirmpllc.com. If you liked what you heard, leave a like, subscribe, leave a review. Let's get this information out to even more people. And with that, I hope you have a great day.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button and leave us a review in the comments.